What's up, spilled milkers? Welcome back to another edition of Go Fork Yourself. I'm Andrew Zimmern. Um, so much going on today. Let's get right to it, shall we? Let's start with your questions this time, and there's some really, really, really good ones. Jean, or Jean, I don't know which, writes, do you have any London restaurant recommendations? Well, as a reminder, you guys are all subscribers. If you're listening to this, you're a subscriber. And that means because you're a paying subscriber, you have access to all the archives. And I have a couple, well, dating back, I think I do a different one each year of some type, to a list of great London restaurants, ones that I adore. And I think I just did one like 5-6 months ago. That being said, you never know who's listening, and I don't want to be assigned homework by anyone, so I don't want to assign you homework. So, like, if you're gonna splurge, go to Core by Claire Smith. Um, Go to Norma's for Malaysian food. Go to Bouchon Racine, Racine. It's an awesome little bistro. St. John, which is just about the most iconic of all British restaurants, but I absolutely love it. And Fergus Henderson never fails to disappoint. Let's see, a Coco, which is a West African tasting menu. I think it's primarily, if you had to pin it down, Senegalese and Nigerian, although I will tell you that I think it was the first African restaurant in London to get a Michelin star. I think it still holds it. But man, oh man, it's just fantastic. Let's see. I'm going by a lot of great restaurants, but I don't think you want to go to a great sushi bar in London, right? I mean, that's not why you're there. Original Tasty Jerk, incredible, right? I'm telling you not to eat Japanese food in London, but I'm telling you to eat jerk chicken in London. Yeah, because the Jamaican population there has some incredible food. Um, when it comes to fine dining restaurants, I told you Core by Claire Smith, but Ikoyi, Ikoyi, absolutely out of this world. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you want to go to, like, people always say, what about classic pub food? Well, I mean, there's lots of great pubs in London. But if you want something that takes their food really seriously and has all the classics, go to the Devonshire. It is just insane. Absolutely insane. Taste of Pakistan. It's very hard to choose between so many great Indian, Afghani, and Pakistani restaurants in London. They really are. They're prevalent, and there's so many good ones. But when I was in London a couple months ago, I went to Taste of Pakistan, blew my mind. And the same thing with Chinese. Usually I I have a dozen favorite Chinese restaurants. They're all on that list. But somebody took me to a Xi'an restaurant called Master Wei, Wei, the last time I was there, and I loved it. There's a Cantonese place called Dim Sum and Duck that's in King's Cross that's absolutely fantastic. And if you want to feel, there's great Thai food there as well. Go to Kiln, Kiln. And, let's just remember, there's so much great Indian food, as I said before, but Gymkhana, Gymkhana, still crushes me every time I'm there. I absolutely love it. You can't go wrong. Okay, Kristy writes, do you ever use Old Bay in your crab cakes? No, because I find it overwhelming. Sometimes I will I'll saute shallots, add a little bit of Old Bay, cool it, and then mix that with mustard and mayonnaise, and I'll dip my crab cakes in that. Or I'll make a vinaigrette with Old Bay and mix it in a salad and serve it with crab cakes. So I sort of have that aroma on the plate, but I don't my crab cakes are about as naked as it gets, and I think they're the best crab cake recipe in the world. I mean, Food and Wine said so. Who am I to argue with them? John writes, can I use something other than egg as a binding agent in meatballs? Sure. I mean, the Asians, hundreds of different cultures, food cultures over there, will literally emulsify their seasonings with little bits of ice, which the Western Europeans have been doing to make things like hot dogs forever, right? When you're emulsifying meats, they use ice. In Asia, they do it, and they don't use egg they use egg in some recipes, but not in a lot of other meatball recipes, and it creates a very QQ, bouncy, firm texture. You can use a little agar-agar. You can use a little potato starch, because when the potato starch mixes with any liquid that comes out of the meatballs while you're cooking them, it helps hold them together. Play around with it. Super easy. Okay. A whole bunch of lists came out over the last couple weeks. And the big one last week was World's 50 Best did their regional North American list. And I thought it was a huge sea change in how lists are done. And the reason why I have zero argument, even though I have an opinion that's different than their 50 best in North America, I have zero argument with their list. And the reason is, and I'm scrolling down here to tell you why, because I wanted to make sure to specifically call this out. So at the beginning of the announcement, live in Las Vegas, William Drew, who's the content chief for World's 50 Best, explained that the voters this year for 50 Best North America were not given any criteria for their choices. Now, why is that important? Well, what it did is it freed up the judges, and I will tell you right now, I am not one. I used to be a World's 50 Best judge, but I did not judge this. Is it opened the door for all of the restaurants that are, let's just use the word, more casual than typical restaurants that wind up on this list. So a restaurant that I'm obsessed with, I've only gone twice, but I think about it every time I'm in New York, is Penny, which is a humble kind of seafood counter. You go in there and you can have oysters and, clams on the half shell and whatever. It's just so perfect. The bread service at Penny's is one of the most incredible things I've eaten in the last year. And do I think it's one of the 50 best restaurants in North America? I don't know, but enough judges thought so, right? And because they didn't give criteria to their judges, it allowed a whole bunch of more casual places to come in there. So that includes restaurants that, by the way, I do think are legit. 2 years ago, Gregory Gourdet, 3 years ago, opened Can in Portland, a Haitian restaurant. Blew me away. I've been there twice. I think it's one of the best restaurants in North America for sure. Does it belong in the 50 best? The judges say so. I say so too. There are restaurants that obviously everyone expected to be there. Adamix and Le Bernardin and Saga. But what about in Philadelphia? Kalaya, right? Which, I mean, they have a super awesome a la carte, Thai menu. It's amazing, right? Do I think that belongs on the world? Is it one of the 50 best restaurants in North America? Well, the judges thought so, but with no criteria, enough people were judging them just on the quality of their food. And if you do that, I mean, is there a better dining experience than Kalaya just for the food? No, there isn't. So I just think it's an incredible thing. We have a link here to those 50 best. Congratulations to everyone. So why is it important that the head content chief came out and made that announcement, because as you know, I've taken real issue with people who make lists who don't tell you what the boundaries are. And it gets very confusing, because when you call something best, if you come out and say, hey, there's no criteria, then you realize it's up to the judging body, and you're going to get a lot of different opinions mixed in there. Okay, so it's kind of random, and you may agree, you may not agree, but at least you understand where they're coming from. And I'll give you an example of a problem that I have with an august body of judges from the New York Times. 3 weeks ago, the New York Times published in digital form and put it out over social, a restaurant, a list called, and I'm quoting here, I'm going to put pictures, I'm going to give you pictures of their digital version and their print version, and they're titled differently, and this is the problem because it winds up being confusing. In digital, they called it the restaurant list, the best places in America right now. Well, holy fuck. If you're telling me that half those restaurants are the best in America right now, I'm going to tell you you're out of your fucking mind. Okay? Where are all the great restaurants on this list? Where are the winners from last year? Did they all of a sudden start making shitty food? No. Today, this morning, I'm recording this on Sunday the 28th in Los Angeles. I'm getting up at 2 a.m. tonight to go tape an episode of next season's 24 and 24, a little bit behind the scenes action. The New York Times print version today, I got it at a newspaper stand in Los Angeles. They put out the print version, and it said, and I took a picture of it, you're going to see it right here, it was called Restaurants We Like. Okay, well, now it makes all the sense in the world. Now, this is the same thing that happened in years past, and I have said to some friends of mine that are involved in this process, why don't you just list all the previous winners and say something like, if you've won before, you're not eligible, or these are restaurants that we find new, important, and interesting. Okay. There are 2 restaurants in Minneapolis that made the list, Vinay and Diane's Place, both Hmong restaurants, super important, awesome. But you're going to tell me that if you look at the print version where it says best places in America right now, that those restaurants, for example, are better than Adamix in New York, or Le Bernardin, or how about Demi, even in Minneapolis? I think the chef owners of Vinay and Diane's Place would say it's not better, and they're very proud of their restaurants, and I'm super proud of them, and I love those restaurants, Vinay and Diane's Place. I think they're magical. I love their food. Love the people who run them. Love what they stand for. Love everything about them. But it's confusing. My bigger point is it's confusing for people who pick that up and want to use that as a guide for traveling. Why not just use the same title in digital and in print and call it Restaurants We Like, or New Restaurants We Like, or cool new places we think you should try, or whatever it is? You're still honoring them. Why in digital do they have to call it the restaurant list, best places in America right now? It just seems like such an easy thing. And where it gets even goofier are not necessarily on lists like the world's best 50 or the New York Times, but when it comes to IACP awards in books, or Beard Foundation awards, or any of the other places that give out awards, right? I mean, Food and Wine comes right out and says 10 best new chefs. You know exactly what it is. So guess what? Eric Repair is not eligible. Okay, I get it. These are the best new chefs, and all the subheads, leaders of tomorrow, chefs on the rise, careers. They have built a franchise. I mean, there's now almost 400 of these best new chefs that they've selected over the years. That is the incredible, powerful group because they've been consistent over time. Drives me crazy. All right. We all remember when Tony Bourdain made Marilyn Haggerty, the North Dakota restaurant reviewer, famous by calling out her review of the Olive Garden. Sadly, she passed away since we spoke last at age 99. Famous for her Olive Garden review that was so pure and so from the heart that it didn't matter that it was an Olive Garden. The writing was what set it apart. And, what was that, 6-7 years ago? She was over 90 when she became famous for her food writing. A really interesting article that we pulled from Grub Street, all about, they call them brewtiques, which is a really funny name, why every store also has become a coffee shop. They talk a lot about, why, and it's obvious. Everyone loves a good cup of coffee or tea or something to drink. And you should have these mixed spaces. Ring the cash register at more than one place for more than one kind of thing. Mixed use spaces are in. I think that's the bigger takeaway. Ground beef, I don't think I've ever seen it this expensive in my lifetime, and I'm 64. If you're looking for really high quality, sort of organic, grass-fed, natural stuff that comes from a farmer who does it himself, you're going to pay $10, $12 a pound for it, if not more. In my neighborhood supermarket, 80/20 ground beef was almost $10 a pound when I went there a couple weeks ago. And because of that, Hamburger Helper, a General Mills product, God bless you, General Mills, is more popular than ever. Now, I am very pro Hamburger Helper, not the product, the idea of it. You need to be able to feed a family for, you should be able to, a casserole type dinner that has carbs and meat and veg. Even if they're freeze dried, they're still nutritive. The one thing that I would suggest to consumers who are outraged by what I just said, is I would encourage you to think of Hamburger Helper as an idea. You can take ground chicken, ground turkey, ground pork, ground beef, mixed vegetables, add them with pasta, liquid seasonings, cook them on the stovetop till the pasta is cooked, and serve it. That's what I did the other day with that wonderful chicken dish with sherry. I was trying to show you an inexpensive, my version of Hamburger Helper, right? Just not with hamburger. I taught you how to make a stock, turn the stock into broth by poaching a chicken in it, shred the beef, cook the noodles in the broth so they soak up all of that. And that dish is so chickeny. Recipe highlighted here. McDonald's is investing in regenerative agriculture on cattle ranches. They've announced they're going to invest $200 million over the next 7 years. Well, whoop-de-fucking-toodle-doo. Sure, on one hand, it's great. $200 million over 7 years. Do the math, right? On one hand, it's a big number. It's almost $30 million a year. It was like $27.5 million a year, $28 million a year. But McDonald's Corporation profits, they are insane. What we need is real leadership from those types of companies. McDonald's is one of the biggest food companies in the world. As they go, so do huge markets, right? We all remember that stat from years ago. Who's the largest purchaser of tomatoes in the world? McDonald's, right? So what I would suggest is it's just like all of these groups that say, oh, we're gonna buy all natural eggs, not from caged chickens by 2030. Why not just say by next year? I mean, you can do it. It's not that hard. We only have a certain number of years in terms of our climate crises and other things that are going on to make our food systems not just sustainable and regenerative, but performative for everyone. Our food system is falling apart, and it's failing the bottom third of the people who live in America, failing them. So why not just say they're going to just, make a commitment to buy from regenerative farms starting now? They would single-handedly change the way farming is done globally if they did that. So whoop-de-fucking-do. I mean, thanks for the $200 million over 7 years. But guess what? You can do better, McDonald's. Sushi, more popular in America than ever. This is one of those, really? Articles? This was worth writing about, New York Times? The conclusion that they do, by the way, this was written by a woman I worship, Julia Moskin. The conclusion of the article, really, it's because it's convenient. I mean, it's obvious it's not a fad anymore, right? But it's convenient. You can just grab a box and eat it. I mean, that's why sushi is not Japanese food. It's one tiny little piece of Japanese food, and it's the convenience food of Japan in many cases, although you can argue they're really in love with American fast food chains. But yes, convenience drives food. One of the things that I've been waiting years for, because number one, I have a huge food crush on this woman, and she's my friend, and I love her. And yes, I've told her to her face how much I love her. But Mashama Bailey, one of America's greatest chefs, is about to open an outpost of her Savannah restaurant, The Gray, on the left bank of Paris. And at the time that she and her partner announced this, I said to them, "Oh my God, it's going to be the biggest and most popular restaurant in Paris." And I stand by this. I'm telling you now publicly, there will be lines out the door. This is going to be a hinge event for Paris dining. Now, Paris has hamburger places, pizza places. They have American restaurants. But to have Southern cuisine, real Savannah food, right? Echoing with the journey of enslaved Africans, with the port of Savannah, with everything that food represents and how Mashama cooks it, I think is going to absolutely blow that city away. Paris is a city of people who love great food, and when they taste how good our food can be, and I believe American food is the food of the American Southeast. I've said that loudly for the last 15 years. When they taste how good it is, because they do not have a restaurant like that in Paris, they are going to have their minds blown, and they will return again and again. And I can't wait to get over to Paris and try that one. There's an article here, and you should too, from Food and Wine magazine that cereal has stopped being fun. I'm 64, and I do remember walking the aisles with my parents, and I mean, the back of the box, you looked at that before you even put the Fruit Loops in your cart. It was cartoon characters and just colors and sugar, and I'm not saying this was good, but it's changing. And this is a superb article at Culture Shift by Darren Cardosa. You should read it. It came out on September 3rd in print. Link to it here. I don't want to ruin the experience for you because it's such a fun read. But yeah, really, really worth exploring. Jaya Saxena, I hope that's how she pronounces her name. I've been a huge fan for a long time. She is the series editor of Best American Food and Travel Writing. She used to be an employee at Eater and does a lot of freelance stuff. And she has written a very long form food culture piece called The Life and Death of the American Foodie. Subhead: When food culture became pop culture, a new national persona was born. We regret to inform you, it's probably you. I have hated the word foodie for a long time, but yeah, I know who she's talking about. And her point is that what 10 years ago used to be sort of a badge of honor, right? I'm a foodie, is now the equivalent of, now would be met with derision, right? That the ideals, her point is, that foodieism embodied, right? Love of food, seeking out better ingredients, the craft of restaurants, all that kind of stuff, of home cooking, have been so absorbed into all aspects of American culture that it's now mainstreamed, right? Like, big deal. Isn't everyone a foodie? And she even says at the end of like the fourth or fifth paragraph, something to the effect of, at this point in 2025, who isn't a foodie? And her point is, when that happens, that piece of culture is dead. I agree with her. It's a really interesting article. You should read it if you like the thought-provoking sort of stuff like that. I think you will too. We've talked before about food flattening and over tourism and, all the kind of stuff that is causing problems in the world, the Airbnb-ifying of the globe. And there's a great article in Civil Eats. Please become a paying member of them. They're incredible. I read everything on that that they send me. There's a great article by Claire Carlson that says, in Oregon, how much agritourism is too much? The state faces a quandary over how and whether to develop its farmland for agritourism. And this is how we are losing so much land globally every single day. And the majority of that farmland is being used to grow food for animals. We are essentially eating our planet, in a sense, and we're eating it to death. So I would say we need to stop. And this is a very important article. Read it, draw your own conclusions. But I think this is a really important question of our time, is what to do with our land, what its best uses are. And if the question that is being raised by Ms. Carlson is how much is too much, the answer is we've already reached that point. All right. You guys all have a great rest of your week. And hey, go fork yourself, McDonald's. McDonald's, you have the ability to make the biggest change in the world if you just changed your policies about where you buy your product from. And so the fact that you're not doing it leaves it up to much smaller people who can't afford to make those changes. You guys can. So go fork yourself, McDonald's.